covering three main points. One is the ongoing agriculture protest. The other is the assault on individual freedoms and rights in states like UP and Madhya Pradesh. And the third is basically crony capitalism. Okay, here we go. As I said, crap, what do we have here? Panel member recuses self on eve of government union talks. Legal guarantee for MSP likely on agenda. So Bhupinder Singh Maan pulls up. And what does the Indian Express say? SC committee cracks. Key member opts out saying he is with farmers. Well, while that's doing that, and look at what the MSP does. Record government purchases of cotton and paddy from Punjab. What will happen if this law goes through? Here's the thing that the government is worried about. Ministers, officials reach out as ex-servicemen join protests. They were trying to convince me that bills were beneficial to farmers. SSSC General Secretary. So basically, now, like I said, Jawan Kisan, right? And here do we have, what does Rajdeep Sardesai write? The anti-corporate texture of farm protest. This is very important. He says, first, in a multimedia universe with thousands of varied platforms, it is almost impossible to control the storyline any longer. The government's propaganda machine is now matched by a unique form of aggressive tech-driven citizens activism. About time. Second, with a battle of perception is pitched as Kisan versus fat cat industry, Ambani and Adani, they're all getting fat around the stomach. There can only be one winner. You guessed it, the farmer. That the Adanis and Ambanis come from Gujarat, the PM's home state and the HM's home state only serves to bolster the impression. I would say it's just not an impression. Finally, there is a reality of the exponential growth in the fortunes of a handful of Indian billionaires in the last decade, even as the income levels of a vast majority of Indians remain stressed in recessionary times. To the extent the farmer protests against Adani Ambani, however amorphous, the sloganeering might be a symbolic of a wider discontent between emerging market monopolies and the fears, real or imaginary, that these monopolistic tendencies will now hijack the farm trade and commodity sector too. Okay, what do we write here? Want assured incomes. This is talk about a guy and local. You know what's happened in Bihar? This poor fellow who does 1.5, produces 15 quintal a year. This Dalit farmer, he gets 1,000 or 1,200 rupees a quintal against an MSP of 1,868. That's about 30,000 a year. That forces him to Punjab and Haryana as labor because he can't make ends meet. And what does Swati Dhingra writes? Farm laws, what India can learn from Kenya's agri experiment. What she says here is, what went wrong in Kenya is what farmers in India fear. Kenyan farmers expected to see productivity gains from selling to agribusiness, which initially gained market share at the expense of other buyers. And at the end of the day, what the farmer found was he was facing these big buyers and his intake became much less, right? Behind farmer, he says, government trust deficit, misreading of protest. So everybody is within the BJP is now beginning to say that things are not right. There are voices within who suggest that government misread signals on the grounds in Punjab. Then they talk about no Sikh leader being part of the whole deal. Hardeep Puri is a banavati Sikh fool, folks, not a real Sikh. But what's happening here? Good riddance to an illiberal mandate. The Allahabad High Court ruling makes it clear that the so-called love jihad law that has been framed in Uttar Pradesh and its clones in other BJP-ruled states will be struck down. And the other one says the correction. Allahabad High Court rings a welcome note of constitutional caution against reckless state intrusion. This is reckless state intrusion on personal life. Upholding the right to liberty and privacy is somebody else called. But is the administration in UP learning? No. Karnataka man booked under UP conversion law. HC asks UP cops not to harass interfaith couple, and divisive politics, two arrested for inflammatory slogans during temple event in Meerut. UP cops start probe into hate speech at Hindu Panchayat. And Hindu men continue their tryst with raping retired UP official, sexually abused kids for 4 years, says police. A weaponization of collection is about to happen, folks. Be careful, India. VHP nationwide fund drive for Ram Temple construction begins. Ram Temple Trust, RSS offshoots to begin massive donation drive. This is going to be really, really problematic, folks. It's going to be weaponization. And what do we have here? Finance and Niti had raised red flags before Adani's clean sweep of 6 airports. And then you connect this to farmers, right? Concentration of power in India Inc. Regulator reviews 7 key sectors. About time. But when he says concentration of power by itself not a concern, folks, I must tell the CCI, in India it's a concern. It's crony capitalism at its worst. Adani and Ambani, you have to worry in India because the DNA allows absolute misuse. And when you talk about credit card spends top pre-COVID levels, yesterday I told you about facts, folks, I told you about personal loans going out of whack. This only shows stress. This is not a sign of a good sign or healthy sign at all, folks. Cheers.